have to get some kind of residence permit or
Damn.
just different permits to allow them to stay there for quite some time.
I guess we're live. I'm not sure.
Are we?
I think so. Let me just check. How could I make sure? Nope. That's not it. Oh, here's live streaming.
So how's the microphone in this position? Is it picking anything up?
Yeah, we're definitely live. But it seems really, really slow. Yeah, total lag. Total
how
lag.
behind is it?
I'm not sure.
It's like a minute? No, it's like 10 seconds.
For real.
Okay.
So now, wait a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 10.
10 seconds.
Damn.
That's a big lag.
Oh, well, anyway. But was the movement at least fluid?
It is. It looks like it goes smooth except for the lag. What do you use for recording?
This one, full HD.
No, I mean
camera.
What kind of software?
OBS.
OBS?
Yeah, that's the only one I know.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So what's the plan with your podcast?
What's the plan?
Yeah.
Well, there's no real plan. I mean, we talked about it earlier that I have, let's say, the opportunity to actually try new things very easily because I have lots of people
Right.
who definitely at least 3 out of 100 have to be interesting people. But usually it's almost everybody. But because what I noticed is that people who like to travel, they usually are, let's say, not necessarily more intelligent and more interesting, but still they have, let's say, more to talk about. Yeah, more to talk about. So that's one plus. And the second is when you have, let's say, a different pattern of people. For instance, Czech people sometimes come, sometimes German people, sometimes French people, whatever. You have the somewhat of consistency in your repertoire. So let's say one time you have a Czech guy over, you speak about some things. Another time a Czech guy wants to come and he already saw your podcast, right? Whether or not it might be useful to him, it's another question, but still.
Okay.
He can just, well, some people can do more research about Latvia. Some people can just see, oh, that's my neighbor. Because technically it could be the way that your neighbor comes to my place.
You have a lot of followers?
Well, no. Because I've only started actually uploading any videos this year.
This year?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't really, that wasn't my plan at all, right? To have actually some content. But then I started watching. I don't know if you know Joe Rogan. Have you heard of him? Or the show Fear Factor.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah. The guy who.
The host.
Yeah, the host.
Okay.
Yeah, but you, doesn't seem you remember the show.
I know that they usually have competitions.
Yeah. It was the show where
they do the crazy stuff.
Exactly. So the guy who was the host of that show is actually a comedian, a stand-up comedian, and he does a podcast. I don't know, probably for 8 or 9 years for now, and it's very, very popular. Right, and I started, I don't know why, but somehow I got into it and started watching it, especially when I'm at work, because it's just like a radio. You just put in your headphones and you talk, you do your things, and it just runs in the background. So that's why I actually started thinking about, well, creating content in a way. And then besides that, I had to do my research. Well, still have to do my research for my PhD.
What's your research?
About legal aspects of the financial sector in Europe.
Okay.
Well,
So how is it related to your podcast?
not at all. I mean, I'm the only relatable subject to that.
Okay.
But in a way, I wanted to, because I have been doing for years now audio articles. So when I did let's say a publication, I always mentioned in that article that an audio article will be available for download.
Yeah.
So I had an not an extensive experience, but still experience in creating at least audio.
Okay.
And because I now I have a studio microphone with an audio interface and all that's necessary. But I started with this. My first audio article that I made was just the record app, and then just speak, and when you hear that compared to this, it's just terrible.
So, you are moving up,
In a way, yeah. So it's just a progression because I usually when I talk to people, and I told you this, right? If I talk to people more than, let's say, 2 sentences, something pops up. Something just you just flow with the conversation. It's just inevitable almost. It's just inevitable almost.
Hear something interesting.
Exactly. So that's why I like to have actually the possibility to, well, not just talk, but actually to create something in a way that maybe you one day will look back. Oh, right, I remember that, right? Because it's, well, at least now it's still could be considered original.
Okay. So just out of curiosity, how do I find your podcast? If I want.
Well, technically, this will be the first one, so you can't. But once we finish and then it's uploaded.
So is this the first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, look, I never. Well, actually, when I did the first try, that's what I wanted to make it. All right, we will see the angles. To actually plan it, right? But now it seems like, all right, this holds. All right, let's start.
Yeah.
Right. So
who did you have for the first one?
Well, I had, basically in total 4 friends. 2 of them came separately first, and then 2 others came after them. So I knew I could get some content, right? But yeah, I mean, once I plugged both the webcams in, didn't work at all. And so I'm too lazy to try to, let's say, figure out the details of it. Yeah. I just made comparison to this. Noticed that everything's working with this,
right.
So it must be this, either the OS or the computer, doesn't matter. So I plugged now just one cam, seems to work.
Yeah, well, it works,
Yeah, so I'm curious. I don't know what the result will be, but I suppose nobody will comment bad because nobody probably will watch it. Actually no. The funny thing is, once I started uploading I started creating video content only this year, right? I was doing the audio articles for many years, and then this year, because I started photography lessons the end of last year, so I got not a DSLR, but a bridge camera.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty good one. And another one, just a video camera. So once I had the next publication, I not just did the audio article, but also did a video commentary on it.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So I had 2 tripods and put 2 cameras and just filmed me. And then I noticed, all right, it's pretty burdensome because then you have to actually finish the recording, take out the camera, take out the memory, then upload it. It's just too stressful.
Yeah.
So that's why these would be more convenient if you can just have the angle. I just didn't know that you have nowadays those type of webcams who actually record full HD, and it really looks like full HD. That's.
I mean, I have a small one, like a GoPro, and it does record 4HD. Full HD, and I think it also does record 4K.
Well, if it's a GoPro, then for sure.
It's not a GoPro. It's one of the copies, But
like the one I have in your room.
Similar.
Yeah. But still, the quality.
It records 4K. So
yeah, but still the quality. But do you use it?
Never.
Because I bought one of those cameras thinking, 4K, nice. I never used it.
It has a low frame rate, so
yeah.
whenever you record something like fast happening in 4K, then you get a lousy video. So it's better to record in a lower resolution with higher frame rate.
For sure,
That's my experience.
Yeah, but do you make some videos yourself?
I never edit it because it just takes too much time.
Oh, but do you have any content uploaded on YouTube?
No, never upload it. I just keep it for myself. This is usually
some private collection going on.
No, that's gonna be the next one. You know. No, but I do some like sports videos.
Where you
skiing videos
where you yourself are skiing downhill.
Yeah, either looking downhill or I did a video in a yachting trip with all the guys on the.
And do you have it mounted like at your head?
No, I mount it on the boat, different places on the boat.
That
so that
seems
it doesn't move, because
difficult.
The boat is rocking.
Exactly.
You run around and do all kinds of stuff, so the video is not very stable.
Yeah.
So the best way is to attach it to some place and have it look down on the people on the boat, and you get the whole idea how it works. Like one guy holding the wheel, another guy pulling a rope, another guy pulling another rope, and it's pretty cool.
Do you do that as a hobby, or
you mean the recording?
No, I mean the sailing.
As a hobby, yeah.
Where do you sail in Czech Republic?
We never sail in the Czech Republic. We go to Croatia or to Greece, and because in the Czech Republic there's not too many. That's what I started
thinking. Yeah, what's up with that?
Rivers, but just it's not too good. You cannot really have a big boat sailing on a river with the wind, because the river is too narrow.
But you probably have those. Do you have those places where, let's say in Prague, you have those places somewhere outside of the center of the city where many affluent people live, and they have those big boats at the docks in the river?
There is actually a bunch of marinas in the city.
What's a marina?
It's a place for the boats where you can park the boats and.
Let me just try to figure out what's the difference between a marina and
a harbor for sailboats.
Look at that! We don't even have a translation in our language. Marina, a specially designed harbor with moorings for pleasure craft.
Yeah.
That's a new term for me.
Harbor is for big boats, and marina is for the small yachts.
So what's a dock? So what's a dock then?
Dock is the part of the marina.
For real?
Where you can actually attach. Damn. That's a dock. Like you have some place where you can tie the boat to.
Very good.
That's the dock.
All right. Very good.
Dock is also the place where you store it outside of the water. It's like a garage for sailboats.
Parking.
Yes.
Yeah, parking lot.
Yeah.
So
there is a bunch of these places in Prague, but since there is a river, but the river is a lot smaller than Daugava here in Riga.
It's a lot smaller?
A lot smaller. It's like half the size, maybe even less, a third of the size.
Because I kind of think I have been to Prague, but I might not.
You were?
I think I have been. I mean, on those road trips I didn't, because I definitely know we drove through Czech Republic, and I think we were in Prague as well. Because I think we even saw. Did you had? I think it was the Old Town and some. I don't know what's it called when they act as a statue. Those guys.
Baskers. Yeah.
Seems like a good word for them. Baskers.
Baskers. Yeah. That should be the word, I think. But you get them in all the cities in Europe, not just Prague. Or.
You mean like this? Basker?
Basker. Buska.
No, what?
Yeah, let me type it for you. Basker, like this.
Street musician.
Street musicians, yeah.
Yeah, some like that, yeah.
But I think that
street performer, right? Street performer, right?
Would be a better expression.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
So do you have those, right?
They are everywhere.
Yeah. So I've been to Prague. I'm pretty confident I've been to Prague now.
They must be here as well, right?
I know we have an old lady in the old town.
What does she do? Does she pose like a statue?
She doesn't, man. She doesn't really do anything. I know she sometimes
And she gets
turns.
for that,
She
yeah.
Well, I mean, if you want, you can, pass her by and give her something. But as far as I remember, she used sometimes turn on the radio and then just sort of dance,
Okay.
sort of dance.
So she's a
I guess you
street
can Google
performer,
that.
yeah.
if you
Not the
if
kind
you
that we have,
if you
in
would call it,
Prague, but,
not necessarily professionally. Let's just check upon it.
yeah. What else do you remember from the city? Because buskers and street performers.
Look at that. So
Is that her?
I think so.
So where is she usually located in the city? Maybe we have.
Well,
some-
she should have been right in front of actually the Freedom Monument. Yeah, that's her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her. Oh wait, actually, you know what I need to do?
Okay.
I need to put in a new scene. I think would be a scene 3, and then where's the display capture? Oh,
You mean with the picture? Okay, yeah.
look at this.
Okay, this is crazy.
That's the matrix right there. All right. I think that should be fine. But now what happens then? Boom. All right, I think they see this now. All right. 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the next.
All right.
Okay, it's there.
So, this one is the lady. Well, this just the text. But there are probably some. I think because of the streaming, the internet is a little bit lagging.
I was playing a movie in the room through Netflix, so maybe that's why it's a little slow. And
Well.
that's why it's lagging. But it probably stopped already.
So yeah, this one but that's the same picture.
Is that her?
That's the same picture. Yes, that's the same picture. Well,
Yeah, I don't remember
Funny.
seeing her there.
because yeah, she probably doesn't have much, but most of the time, yeah, you can see the radio, and then when it's turned on, it's on.
Okay.
All right, let me just put back this one.
We didn't see her, did we? Yeah.
Boom. All right. But did you probably went throughout the old town because it's not that big, right?
I think we must have seen all the streets in the old town at least twice.
At least
No,
twice.
but It's nice. Yeah.
Does it
reminds me
remind
of
you?
Prague, actually,
That's
a
what I
little
wanted
bit.
to ask. Yeah. Does it remind
The
you of
narrow
Prague?
streets with cobblestones and the little houses, old houses from different centuries.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were actually talking about it yesterday. That's what I said. That the old town reminds me actually a little bit of Prague. Some of
You
the
probably have
parts.
seen many old towns, right? Because you like to travel, probably.
Yeah, that's true.
So what do you think? What's the best for an old town for you guys? I'll just close the
Yeah, sure.
window.
Yeah, let me think about it. Mm. Yeah, I would have to say Prague because I'm a really big fan of the city, Prague, and because the old town is so preserved, and you don't really get to see such well preserved old towns in Europe anymore.
Well, okay. I mean, you
Because of the two wars, especially the World War II.
yeah, you said Prague.
Yeah.
All right, but what about the foreign ones?
Yeah, okay, the foreign ones.
Probably Poland, right?
I never went to any big city in Poland.
Really?
So I can't say, but Rome maybe,
Well, that's a classic.
and
But is it really that interesting? And I mean, you are 21st century people. Is it really that interesting to go to Rome, to go to those classic tourist places?
Okay, let me change Venice. Yeah, Venice definitely.
How come?
Would be higher for me on the
Because of what?
Because it's smaller, it's more compact because of the island. So
doesn't it stink? I mean, it's water, isn't it?
It does not stink.
Really?
I mean, you get close to the water, it stinks a little, but it's not like you are walking around Venice and you get the smell.
Because I would imagine it's just a sewer.
You know, you are on an island. You are not in a sewer. You are on an island.
But would you like to live there though?
Yeah, why not? You don't need a car. You have a little rowboat, and that's.
And you get from marina to marina.
You get from marina to marina. You either walk or you use your boat, and all the houses in Venice.
But don't they use any jet skis? That would be a Vespa on the water, wouldn't it?
That I think it's not allowed there because of the city sits in a lagoon, and the lagoon is actually not that deep.
Well, but come on, a jet ski
gets a lot of pollution from the marine traffic and from the city itself.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't allow too much traffic on the lagoon.
Oh, so it has to be manually. They still do it manually, right?
They do, but this is just a tradition. But they of course they have.
They have motorboats.
Motorboats, motor taxis, but they have to get a license, and not everybody gets the license. So for a jet ski, if everybody had a jet ski in Venice, the city
would be pretty cool.
Like noisy and jet ski. To jsou ty vodní lyže, vodní scooter. And the canals in the city, they are quite narrow, so I cannot really imagine everybody riding on jet skis in Venice. But to me, Venice is in terms of old town higher than Rome. Rome gets too much traffic, too many cars in the streets. It's so busy, and you want to walk around and you want to appreciate a nice building.
Mm-hmm.
Or some detail on the building or something in the city, and you can't because there's this constant flow of traffic and little motorbikes, and the pavements, the sidewalks are too narrow. So if there is a person coming in front of you, ahead of you, then you will always have to find a way how to avoid each other.
Well, but come on, you're a tall guy. You can see where's the best avoidance path.
Yeah, but whenever you want to appreciate the architecture, you always have to keep in mind that there is car coming from you from one side and a motorbike from another side, and there's this group of people passing you, and just too much noise and too much traffic in the city. That's why I would say that Rome is is a beautiful city, but there's this constant annoyance from the presence of people and cars and motorbikes.
There's probably tourists, just a lot of tourists, right?
A lot of tourists, a lot of locals.
But what do they do what do the locals do in Rome? I mean, it seems like it would be almost exclusively for tourists.
Yeah,
it seems like it. I mean,
see Colosseum, and you go to see the castle, which is in Vatican, and you think that this is a city.
Yeah, just a lot of tourists. I mean, what does, let's say, Paris? I think they have in 1 month many millions of tourists, right? I think so.
I think Paris
I might have made that statistic up, but still, they have a lot of people during a month.
It's definitely going to be millions in Paris and in Rome as well.
Yeah, so I think if I would be a local, would I want really to live somewhere where just a million people go every month? Probably not.
I'm a local in a city where we get millions.
But how close are you to the traffic of the tourists? Do you live in the center?
No, but you once in a while you have to go through the very center.
Oh, sure,
places.
Yeah.
And almost every day, well, let me say, every week you go to places that are frequented by tourists. So could be a little annoying to make your way through the crowd, but besides that, I appreciate the fact that the city is so beautiful that it brings the tourists in, and the fact that it brings the tourists in means that it brings money in as well, and it means that the standard of living, the standard of services, the standard of food, the standard of everything goes up. Because
But do you really?
because the tourists they
But do you really feel that way in a sense that you really notice a difference?
yeah.
Let's say you have. Well, do you
Yeah.
have any low years? I mean, tourist wise. Let's say, for instance, 10 years ago, after the financial crisis, did you have a noticeable decrease or increase in tourists?
It changes. There's not really a peak, and there's not really a valley,
Yeah.
because, like for example, the Russians. This year they started to come back, but last year they left because of the sanctions from European Union and
But are they?
stuff.
But aren't they still around the sanctions?
The sanctions are, but they apparently
They just
found
get
a way
tired.
to get around it.
Ah.
And or maybe they changed their mind. First they said, okay, so we get these sanctions from European Union,
Yeah.
we don't go to visit there. And a couple of years later they say, okay, so well, the sanctions are going to be around for a while, but I want to go see Prague, I want to go see Berlin, whatever. So,
What do you think actually of
they
Russian
came-
tourists?
What do I think of
Yeah,
Russian
because it
tourists?
seems like the universal stereotype is they have money but no culture.
Okay, well, let me ask you, what do you think of the Russian tourists?
Well,
There's a lot of Russian
Well, I've
tourists.
had several here, right? Well, the only noticeable difference from the rest of the tourists is that usually they don't speak other languages. Well,
Okay.
it's really uncommon for let's say a Russian tourist to speak, let's say, English to a certain
Okay.
an extent.
Okay.
And
What kind
that's the only difference. Other than that, they just like the fact that well, Latvia was in the Soviet Union, and that it is foreign and yet somehow
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah. What kind of Russian tourists do you have here? It's usually
All types.
students or,
You would guess so, but no. Actually, I've had starting from students till really married couple with kids,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
and everything in between.
Yeah. Well, I think that it depends on the type of Russian tourists that you get to meet.
Regarding the language speaking, not that much.
No, I mean the opinion of the Russian tourists. Because most of the people that form the opinion of Russian tourists, they
And it depends on whether or not they travel in small groups.
no, I think it doesn't. It depends on the type of the Russian tourist.
I think if you get them in a
meet
bigger
the
group,
rich people,
it's on.
If you meet the rich people, then they usually behave a bit more arrogant and they are demanding.
Well, but they would be in a
That's-
hotel
that's the
somewhere
they
dealing with
wouldn't
them.
probably stay here, but you
Exactly.
in the city. And when you walk about, and you immediately distinguish these type of tourists.
So see,
And,
that was a politically correct answer. Now he was aware.
Yeah. So well, that's why there are so many negative opinions of Russian tourists because.
But the overall stereotype is that they spend money, and yeah,
It is, yeah, it is a stereotype.
good for that in a way.
But I mean, it's not like I heard it from my friends. It's just my experience of Russian tourists. But I also have the different experience of Russians themselves, not just the Russian tourists visiting Prague, but I was traveling around in Russia,
Mhm.
and I was so happy to see that it's like completely different when you travel. In
If you were in St. Petersburg or Moscow, it doesn't really count.
No, I went to other places as well.
All right.
And, I learned that the rest of Russia, that they hate Moscovich, they hate the people from Moscow because they think that they are arrogant. And the smaller the place, they hate them more. And you go to a city like Yekaterinburg or Kazan or whatever, And then the further you go, they tell you, oh, the people from Kazan, they are not as bad as the one from Moscow, but they are also these rich people living in a big city, and they are arrogant, and they come here, and we don't like them. So this is typical of all the big cities, or
but it's probably
of all the countries.
it's probably everywhere like that, right? Because
Sure.
regions do like to think of themselves either bad or good.
Yeah, I mean, you must have it also in Latvia. Like when you go to the countryside and you tell people, I'm from Riga, that they look at you and they think, we have a city boy here. And
I mean, technically, you could probably find it, but it's definitely not that that big of an issue for people, right? Whereas I imagine that Moscow being so big, it might be totally different. It might be that they are speaking of Moscow as almost another country,
a
different country.
So it's a question of accents and minorities, and I don't know what else, politics. In a small country, it's not so much pronounced.
You know what the funny thing is? I think I haven't even spoken about politics with any of the Russian tourists I've had.
You haven't?
It seems to me that I cannot remember of. I definitely have spoken about some, let's say, freedom of expression and stuff like that. But I don't think really about much politics, simply because I don't really expect much, and it doesn't really seem to be an interesting topic. Well, you have a president, you have president. That's it. In a sense.
No, I mean, I would always ask the question about politics. Because to me it's interesting to because there's so much
I need to try to get some I need to get some let's say the next Russian guests on my podcast. So what do you think of Putin? And then see what happens.
Maybe we would have to take it offline. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Do you think do they have actually? I think they have YouTube, right? But they use probably different.
Some kind of censorship. I don't know.
I'm not sure because I know they have RuTube.
RuTube.
RuTube,
that's, like a Russian version of YouTube.
Yeah, because I think Facebook isn't even that popular in Russia.
Yeah, no, it's not. I think that
they have their own.
Contact, this one.
Contact, really?
Yeah, that's the name of the.
Oh yeah, I think.
Facebook.
Yeah, I think I know the logo of that.
Yeah, it's a blue V in a square, something like
that. Yep.
Or VK, something like that.
A VK almost, like an eagle or something like that. Yeah. Okay. So what's your impression of Latvia, of everything you saw in 2-3 days?
We had a short time to be here. It's just a couple of days, so it's difficult to say. But I was trying to compare it, and we had a discussion about it yesterday. And
wait a second, can you check whether or not he's still actually awake?
I guess he is there. Is he there?
No, I'm just thinking if he's already sleeping, then we are probably too loud.
Is it your roommate?
No, there's another Airbnb guest. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you just if you walk in the kitchen, you'll see whether or not the lights switched on at the door.
We woke the poor guy up today in the morning. Well, it wasn't really morning. It was more like 10 or.
Well, never mind.
10:30. Yeah. So we.
It's dark there.
Dark?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, seems like he's already sleeping.
Okay, so we can finish this.
Well, anyway, it was a pretty good first run.
Now, what I wanted to say is that we were discussing about this yesterday. We were in Jurmala, and we were coming back by train in the evening.
Yep.
And I was looking at the people on the train, and to me, it's like hard to compare Latvia to the countries around, because it seems like there's a little bit of the Nordic and Scandinavian influence, and a little bit of Russian influence,
definitely,
and a little bit of Polish, and a little bit of German. But to me, it was quite difficult to say which one is prevailing. like which one is the strongest. So
But
it's like a
do you
mixture.
mean ethnically or culturally?
No, culturally.
Ah.
Culturally.
Well, culturally, definitely you can say 60% Russian, and then 20 to 30% some German
No,
slash French
I don't
slash
know,
Swedish,
yeah, maybe.
and then 10% Polish, Lithuanian, and everybody else.
Maybe the Russian influence was the strongest, but I could still whenever I look at the people, it's different than Russians, and it's different than Scandinavians. And
Yeah, sure,
different than
sure.
the Germans. So yeah,
But
it's
but we are
difficult to
but we
say.
are in it together. You and me, you and
The
me.
Czechs, yeah,
We are in it together.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I think well, we are all called Eastern Europeans, aren't we?
Yeah.
So that's the mix.
This is
That's
what I
the
was
mix right
saying.
there.
I mean, to me, being here is not that much different from being in the Czech Republic.
I believe that.
When I look at it, it's the Latvians. They drink beer. They like beer. We like beer. We went to the beer festival, and there's rock music playing, and people are dancing.
If you look to the right, you'll see the stash of beer of my father.
Yeah.
Those six
Where is
bottles.
it? Behind the couch.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a big
So-
beer drinker.
Okay.
Nobody else in my family is.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what is it, but yeah, I cannot seem to grasp my mind how people actually drink beer and say, that tastes nice.
Maybe
Because it's bitter.
It is bitter.
It's
but
bitter,
maybe
man.
We'll, stick to it. No,
So, yeah,
like I
but-
said, there's a lot of similarities, like with the beer, the music, and
Yeah, for
when I
sure.
was looking at the people, it's not like the people are not that emotive and open-minded and talkative like in the south of Europe.
But
And,
are they in the south?
in the south,
yeah.
like you see the Italians, how they act on the streets and how they talk to
But
each
are
other.
there really those stereotypes?
Have you been there?
No, not at all.
Okay,
That's why I ask.
you go there and you notice it immediately.
Really?
You sit in a bar or in a coffee and you just look on the street and see how people talk to each other, how they greet each other.
But isn't
It's
it?
a completely different
But is it funny to look, let's say, as a foreigner
experience.
at them?
It's like it's nice. It's not funny. It's nice.
It's nice
Yeah.
in the sense that you would like to have that
Yes.
as well in
Yeah.
Czech. Really?
And when you are part of it, it's very welcoming and it's very warm. Like you
'Cause-
feel like
'cause
you are part of it.
I only imagine somebody just arguing like this. all the time.
Really.
Yeah, that's what I only
Yeah,
imagine.
they do it when they talk, but yeah. So like I said, it's here the people are not like that.
For sure.
It's similar to what we are. It's more like calm and not expressing too
But
much.
wait a second. But wait a
opinions,
second. The
and,
Czech people are probably more sunny. More
you
sun.
mean more sunny, like
More
smiling,
sun.
or-
Yeah. I would
I would say
imagine.
it's
I would
roughly
imagine.
the same here.
Really.
What do you think?
Yeah,
Because we already established you like to party more, you like to drink more beer.
You like we Czechs?
Yeah,
You
That's-
think that we like to?
that's
party
what my father always tells people who tell him he drinks a lot of beer. He tells, I drink as the average Bavarian or the average Czech.
Okay.
So all good.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of similarities, and it's not that different to me being here than from being in the Czech Republic.
Hmm.
But I noticed a lot more differences when I go to like for the Balkans, like the Croatia,
Mhm.
Slovenia, and the Croats and Slovenes. They are culturally and from the language perspective closer to us, to Czechs, than the Baltic nations.
Yeah.
Because we speak almost the same language and we share the history. But with the Baltic countries, we don't really share any history, and the language is completely different. But still, it feels like that there is a lot of similarity. I don't know why.
But you know why? Probably because you probably have a big influence from Germany. You should have.
Could be,
You should have.
could be the German influence, but the city as well, the way the city appears and
Well, but
the
wo-
old town of Riga is similar to old town of Prague.
But weren't you guys conquered by the same? What's it called? Those
Austria,
13th century
Austria-Hungary.
dudes. What were they called? Those man, those.
The Czech countries, they were conquered by Austrian Hungarian Empire
Let me just.
in the 17th century. So it was the Germans, pretty much Austrians and Germans.
Oh, the Crusaders. Weren't you conquered by the Crusaders?
Not really.
What?
No.
What?
Křižáci. No, yeah, there was a lot of wars in the Middle Ages, but I don't think that we were conquered by the Crusaders.
Let me just check on that. So, wait a second. Where are we? Oh, that's
I think that
the Near East.
Crusaders, it was more about the Mediterranean and
Yeah,
the
but what
north
was
of
but
Europe.
what was those who conquered Europe? Because the Germans in the 13th century conquered almost all of Europe.
Well,
Right?
we had an independent kingdom in the 13th century, all the way up until 16th century. So, but there is this influence from the
Teutonic Order.
Austrian, German
All right,
Empire.
something like this Teutonic Order. So where's Czech Republic in this one?
It's
Here.
a little bit more to the west.
So here's Germany, right?
This is
This-
Germany.
this is Germany.
Can I show you?
Sure.
I think should be around here,
No, that's
like this.
Bavaria, isn't it?
No, Bavaria is more to the south, like here.
What?
It's next to it. Bavaria would be a little bit more south here. Czech Republic is this area.
Well, that goes
It's
to
directly south of Denmark.
to say that look, you had some influence from the Germans.
Well, we did, but mostly from the 16th century up until the 20th
there were-
century.
They were called Northern Crusades. Look at that. Yeah.
You know, I mean, there is a German influence, but not by the Crusaders. It's by more by trade, because the Czech kingdom in the Middle Ages, they traded with the Germans,
Hmm.
and they invited German architects and some German dynasties.
But
they
here-
married the.
I'm not a big anthropologist, but my guess would be that she has some German in her. Because look at that blonde.
It's more
woman.
Swedish or Danish.
Well, but those are German
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, that's true.
So there you have it.
Yeah, well, there is definitely a German influence in the history. Maybe that's,
Oh, and actually, I have heard that Skoda is just the same as Volkswagen with another brand. Is it true?
It's part of the same group.
In the sense that you even have some models that it's basically the same Volkswagen just with the Skoda label.
They use
Funny.
half of the parts from Volkswagen, and they built.
So if you would like to
different line on it.
have just a cheaper Volkswagen, just buy a Skoda, right?
That's
Because
how
it's
it
the same.
goes.
Because it's
Yeah.
the same
Yeah,
mo-
Yeah.
model.
yeah, that's true.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what
If
car
you
do
want
you?
to have a good German car, buy Skoda. Buy Skoda.
What cars do you actually prefer?
Me?
do lots
I'm
of
a
Czechs
big fan of
buy?
Tesla, but I don't have one, and I will probably never.
Because you're a tech guy, right? Because you're a tech guy.
I'm a tech guy, and I'm also environmentally conscious guy. So.
But
I
are-
like
but
the
are those
idea of
batteries
driving
really-
electric cars.
But are those batteries really that friendly to the environment? Because
Uh,
those are
they
pretty
are a lot
difficult to make.
friendlier than burning oil, I think.
Really?
It's not 100%
Is it?
clear, that's for sure.
Is it?
Also depends on how you produce the electricity. If you produce it from a coal plant, then it's probably dirtier. Than
I didn't really,
burning
but I didn't really mean the electricity, but the batteries themselves.
you mean the production?
The batteries of the. I think that's really a health and
It's
environment
not clean.
hazard.
It's not clean, but if you look at a normal car, there's a lot of different stuff that you have to produce. A lot of different metals that you have to mine and that are equally dangerous and equally polluting.
But technically,
so
they
to-
could probably just figure out how to use some alcohol cars, right? Because they have had alcohol as fuel.
Where in?
Well, for cars,
they do
alcohol.
it in Brazil, but I don't think that in Europe anybody's driving on ethanol.
Probably not, but they could if they would like, right?
They could, but I don't think that it's gonna make any difference. I mean,
But
burning,
not, well,
oil
at least
or
not now.
burning ethanol, it's the same thing. How do you produce ethanol? You also produce it from oil.
What? No,
Yeah.
no. It's just, well, you can make
You
you can make corn
there are
into
probably
into
different
alcohol.
ways how to produce it, but
Yeah.
Still, electric car is electric car. That's why I like Tesla.
Have you driven one?
I haven't. I'd like to. Have you?
No, but I'm not. I'm the only well interesting aspect of a Tesla for me is that it has more space inside
Ah,
because it doesn't have the stick. It's just some big ass screen.
okay.
So that's
The
interesting.
screen is a nice feature.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I suppose it doesn't really make
But
sound.
there are some other electric cars besides Tesla that can be quite.
Are there? Oh yeah, right.
entertaining
They
and
have some other ones, but
Chevrolet is selling one and is surprisingly good, and Volkswagen also has one.
yeah, but most of the time they look pretty awkward, right? Because BMW has one, at least one or two.
Oh yeah.
Many
they
have
also
them.
have a couple of electric
But they most of
cars.
the time look weird.
I like the design. I mean, it's a little
Which one?
strange.
Which one? The small ones?
i3. That's the name of the small one. It's a
I3.
little boxy. And it's short, but
Is it BMW?
it looks quite high tech. I think.
BMW?
Yeah, BMW i3. That should be
I3.
the one.
Sounds like an Intel processor.
Yeah, that's the one. It's
Oh,
an
yeah.
interesting design, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
decent.
kind of like it.
So maybe you won't have a Tesla, but you can have a i3.
The newest Tesla should be quite could be a lot less expensive than the older ones, and should be probably less expensive than this one. So
Mm-hmm.
when it comes out, I'll be in the line.
For real? So
If they ever bring it to the Czech Republic,
why wouldn't they? Because it seems to me
they have
Czech,
like 400,000 reservations
Here's-
in the US alone.
here's my
It's
impression
gonna
of
take 2 years before they all build it.
here's my impression of Czech Republic in general. It seems to me that after Sweden, after Finland, well, if you can count, let's say Norway, just because geographically it's is there, basically all the Scandinavian countries, Finland, and the Netherlands. It seems the Czech Republic would be the most affluent country. Seems to
Definitely
me.
not.
Seems to me.
It's not.
Well, I mean, in a broader sense, perhaps perhaps Germany has a bigger GDP and per capita statistics, but still, it seems
we are
Czech
roughly the
Republic
same as
seems
Latvia.
pretty decent.
We are roughly the same.
But
as
you
Latvia.
have more, what, 10 million people? You have lots more people.
10 million, 10
You have lots more people, lots more beer, lots more blonde people.
That doesn't
A
make
big
the
difference economically,
Yeah,
big difference.
No, I think that we are pretty much the same as Latvia.
Do you
Even
have?
in terms of prices, like when you buy stuff in the Czech Republic, most of the stuff costs the same as here in Latvia.
Probably except beer, right?
Except beer. Beer is
Cheap.
more expensive here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have beer that's sometimes cheaper than water.
Yes. Did you hear about this?
Well, I think I saw that once.
Yeah, that's true. You whenever you go to a bar, if you want to get the cheapest drink available, it's never the water, it's the beer. You get a half liter of beer, and it's cheaper than half liter of water.
And what's the reason behind that? It shouldn't be in a way, right? That way.
Because you go to a bar to drink a beer, not to drink water. So.
But they don't subsidize the beer, right?
They don't, but they.
So how can you
charge
make
more money for the water? They want you to drink beer.
Ah, so basically it's.
The cost of the water is almost nothing, but they just.
So they just charge more.
Than they charge for beer.
Oh, I see.
I guess the bottled water, it's almost the same, like year price. I mean, the price is the same year, wherever. Just the beer is cheaper.
Yeah.
The beer is cheap, but the prices of drinks or cocktails, I guess it's similar, like in Middle Europe, but the beer is cheap.
Yeah, the beer is cheaper.
Really cheap.
I mean, if you have a look at the price of water here,
Mhm.
bottled water, then the same price is in Prague. And if you sell bottled water in a bar, then you always charge double or triple of what you charge whenever you sell it in a shop.
Yeah.
But the beer is still the same cheap in a bar. So we pay €1 for a pint of beer, for a half liter of beer,
Hmm.
but you pay $1.50 for a half liter of water. That's how it goes.
But it's probably just a particularity of Czech
Yes.
Republic, isn't it?
Yes. Never heard of any other country
Yeah.
that kind
So
of.
so do you drink beer? Like
I drink
regularly?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I like beer.
So
I mean,
so do you grow up liking it or just acquire the taste?
you acquire the taste. Everybody around you at certain age.
Here's the funny thing I find.
You do as well.
If you guys say you drink beer regularly, you're totally different. Like let's say British people, right?
Yes, the beer drinking culture is different.
Yeah.
I think that in England it's more like let's get drunk, and beer is cheap, and it's a cheap way how to get drunk.
Hmm.
But in the Czech Republic, beer is still cheap, but it has a good taste. So you drink it not because you want to get drunk, you drink it because you like it, because it has a good taste.
But you still don't get behind the wheel.
You are not allowed, but yeah, the reason why people drink beer is not to get drunk, it's to enjoy the taste of beer.
But
That's the main reason.
But another one regarding the party culture of you have a big ganja market over there, right? That's what I heard. That the Vietnamese control the ganja market as well.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
look at you.
We have a lot of different
Oh,
markets
and actually,
in the
right.
Czech Republic.
I remember the guy with what's it called? Yerba mate. Yerba mate.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So he told me about that you had pharmacies, allegedly pharmacies who sell cannabis. And then it was just a fake story that he told me that nothing like that.
No, this
Is
is true.
there-
There is a legal market for cannabis,
Hmm?
and it's only started, I think, a couple of years back.
Like 2014, I spoke to him 2014.
A year back, okay, so a year back, and the pharmacies, they are allowed to sell it for medical reasons. There's
So-
not enough
so-
supply at the moment, but so you cannot really buy.
Like officially, it's not a big enough supply.
Officially, of course, and they are not
But
allowed
wait a
to
sec.
sell unofficial
But wait a second. Do you have literally medical doctors telling, all right, here's a patient?
Yes, you can subscribe it.
Really?
Is that right?
But you need the doctor. He needs specialization.
Yeah.
And you need get like electronic prescription, and it's limited as well.
Yeah, it's a little difficult to get a
Yeah.
subscription
And
for
it's not every
cannabis.
pharmacy. There is a
but,
few pharmacies in our country. It's not like so easy.
Yeah, it's still developing
And
the
it's
market.
still quite expensive to get it this way.
But what was the reason to? Because you are alone in this, right? In Europe,
Actually,
nobody else does it.
No, I mean, I'm pretty sure that in the Netherlands, then they can also. Well, you can.
Well,
buy
look,
it. You
here's-
don't have to
here's-
go to a pharmacy. to
Here's
buy
what
it.
here's what I told her before you came. I told her you strike me similar to Dutch people.
With the.
In
weed or-
just in general, if you would have come to me and said, well, look, I'm actually Dutch, I would have believed you just
Okay.
straight away,
Uh,
because you are tall.
Yeah, I
Right.
get it a lot because I'm tall, so a lot
Yeah.
of foreigners tell me they think I'm Dutch. So yeah, with the Netherlands, you don't even have to go to pharmacy to buy it. But I think that maybe in Germany and in Denmark and some other countries,
And I
you
actually
can buy it. In a
and
pharmacy.
I actually thought of her. Let's say if you really would say, oh, you're Dutch, you could probably definitely say, well, yeah, I'm Antje. right. I mean, it would be really the name would suit you really well, Antje.
Yeah, it's a nice Dutch name.
But how come that you are in the Czech Republic the only ones around you? Because nobody else does it. Not similarly, right?
I don't know.
Because did you
Hard to
have
say.
some history before that? Because what we heard in Latvia was just, in Czech Republic there will be legal weed in 2014 or something like that. And I thought, well, this seems suspicious. And then I talked to the Jebamate guy and told me, nothing. He was a dude who came here from couchsurfing, and then his story was this: a Russian-speaking Latvian native was doing some business in Czech Republic, met him and some of his buddies, I guess, somewhere in Prague or whatever, then went back to Latvia, and then had told him to, if he comes to Latvia, to just come visit him. So he came to some exchange program or whatever to Latvia, then requested on couchsurfing website to stay at my place, and he stayed at least for a couple of months, right? And during that time, he started working for that dude. And that dude is the one who is, I think, the sole owner, or at least the part owner of the company who creates the big expensive SUVs. I can show you. So these ones.
All right.
These SUVs, they cost like €1 million a piece.
Yeah.
And they build them. I think he told me that they build them in Riga and in Estonia. Some.
So this is Latvian-made car.
I mean, technically, the company is registered in Estonia, but that dude lives in Jurmala. That owner.
Right.
So the Czech guy, the Jebamate guy, was working with him as his assistant or whatever. So now they basically, and he was doing it for at least a little bit more than a year, because he moved out. And he went to an apartment that the employer paid for him, right? So, and after a while, he came to me back. We chatted a bit, and he told me, well, we at first wanted to build a plant facility in Latvia, but then it seems that it's more reasonable to get a plant in the Czech Republic near the German border. He told me that Volkswagen just left some buildings or whatever, and they plan to use them. So he basically got back to Czech Republic, still working for that company, right? Sounds like a success to me, in a way.
Okay.
That's the Jebamate guy.
Okay, all right.
Well, his name is Karel.
Okay. What was his connection to weed? He told you the story with the weed prescription in pharmacies?
Yeah. We talked about it. Yeah, because I have the Vietnamese acquaintance who does some business in Czech Republic as well, and he started telling that the Vietnamese they are in every little market, they are everywhere.
Yeah, they took over. But there is a history of methamphetamine. Which goes a long way back, and I think that we are.
Wait, so but methamphetamine is just some 20th century drug, isn't it?
That's quite new.
Yeah.
But there is a history of this, and I'm guessing that because of the history of methamphetamine.
Really?
There is also a history of other drugs in the Czech Republic.
But it seems that's another similarity to the Netherlands.
To the Netherlands.
Man. Do you like cheese, guys? Do you like cheese? Do you like kickboxing?
And I think that the best way how
to
drug business is to legalize it.
And
that's what they did.
And now, if they build them in the Czech Republic, you can take Antje and put her in these photo shoots. Because what he told me is that this car cost like €1 million, right? And what they want to do in Czech Republic is to build cars that compete with, and this was 2015 or 2014 when he told me, well, Jaguar, Bentley want to bring out SUVs, and I told him, what? Never heard of it, right? But he told me then, well, no, they want to bring out SUVs, and we want to compete with them, so we want to make a cheaper SUV than, well, we build now $1 million euro cars. We want to build, I don't know, €100,000 cars, right? So it won't be that like a tank, but it will be just a luxury SUV.
I like
So
to, I
so-
like to see
so-
it.
yeah, so I'm not sure where
factory
how
in
far
Czech Republic.
it went, but if you haven't heard of any
No,
news
I haven't.
about building some luxury SUVs, then I suppose it's maybe still in the
He's just a
making.
storyteller, the guy.
No, it definitely wasn't. I mean, he even drove with dude's car here to pick me up one time.
With this car.
No. It was a promotion car, which was
Okay.
just completely without doors and stuff like that. It's just.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I don't doubt his story. It's just that he told me that he will go back to Czech Republic because they decided to build a facility there, so
Okay.
he can go back home basically.
Maybe some other country got lucky and they are building SUVs like that. There
Well,
instead
yeah.
of, Czech Republic.
But if you let's say next year start seeing some luxury SUVs built in Czech Republic, you heard it here first.
I
Alright.
think I'll remember the car when I see it. This one.
Well, they
There's
won't.
not too
Well,
many cars,
they won't
like
build.
that on the road.
Yeah, but they won't build these, right? They will build. Let's say, this one is a $1 million car. This one is just a Hummer, right? And they would just compete. The new car would be just a competition for this one.
I think
So-
that, Bentley already came out with their SUV.
Yeah, Bentley came out. Jaguar came out. And he told me they want to compete with the Lamborghini SUV, and I don't know if that's out. But I think they really want to make a Lamborghini SUV.
Everybody wants to make an SUV.
How are the roads in Czech Republic?
Normal.
No, in the sense that you have.
You don't need an SUV.
Oh, really?
On the road.
Hmm.
But it's popular. It's big and it feels safe. So
It's the same here.
everybody's buying it.
Hmm?
I think that now 25% of the newly registered cars are SUVs. And even the Czech automaker Škoda, they are coming out with SUV models.
Oh, right. It
Introduced one.
it seemed pretty good.
2 weeks ago.
seemed pretty good.
Yeah, it looks nice. It's I think it's different version of Volkswagen SUVs.
Really?
They have two.
But it looks different.
Now the Czech automaker, they also have two, and they are the same size as the German ones, as
Mhm.
the Volkswagen ones.
Yeah.
But they have a different body and a different design.
Different
and,
look, yeah.
Like, the engines are the same and the suspension is the same. And a
Ah,
lot of the parts inside are the same.
I see. Yeah,
But,
makes sense.
It's cheaper and they make more money on the cars than Volkswagen does. They have actually a bigger margin, the biggest margin of the group. Porsche is part of the same group.
Mhm.
That they have the highest margin.
Yeah.
And Škoda, they have the second one. And
How do you know that?
Audi goes behind them.
How do you
They
know that?
publish it.
And you follow that?
I read the news and this is an
Wait
interesting fact.
wait a
so,
second. They publish in Czech Republic that Škoda has big profit margins.
You can read it in the economic what do you say it what do you call it when the company
Journals?
publishes their
annual
results,
reports.
the
Reports.
annual report.
Mm-hmm.
So you can find it there, and somebody made the effort to calculate the margins of all the automakers in Europe.
So that's an
They
approximation.
found out that Škoda they have one of the highest margins in the market, and this is not approximation. This is a real calculation.
Which goes to prove my point that the Czech Republic is affluent.
If you
You're just
make money by
you're just rich Dutch people in another country.
I don't know. No, but if you make money by selling cheap cars, maybe you are affluent, maybe not. But I think that you are making good business.
But what is the biggest industry in Czech
The Czech
Republic
Republic?
except beer or food items?
Automotive is the single biggest industry.
Well,
Not
wait a
because
second.
of, Škoda,
Wait a
because
second,
of
don't
other
you-
car makers.
Yeah, don't you have any other like bus makers or something like that?
Yeah, there's like 5 different factories.
See
bus
what I mean?
makers,
See what I mean?
Trucks.
So
Toyota
you
has a
are-
factory
So
there.
so you guys are nowhere near Latvia, or rather, we are not nowhere near Czech Republic.
What's the biggest industry here in Latvia? The single biggest.
Well,
Is it
food manufacturing probably.
What is it?
Food manufacturing probably.
Manufacturing.
My guess would be food, then probably timber.
Timber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, man. Well, probably some metal industry still left, but other than that, pharmacy, right? Pharmaceutical products.
Pharmaceutical.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good business. It's almost
Also
as good
high
as,
margins for sure.
automotive.
Yeah, but I'm not sure whether or not it's really diverse. I mean, let's say in Switzerland you would have just a magnitude of big conglomerates, whereas we probably have some let's say still patents, and then just some brands established in different markets, and then build on those. I guess that would be my guess. Other than that, yeah, man. I mean, we have Google at our fingertips, but still, I'm
was just
somehow
curious.
reluctant to Google. I think it was pretty accurate. Food, timber, and then everything in between.
So what's the biggest company?
Well, I suppose
Like,
in terms of revenue, probably
Yeah,
some
revenue.
foreign one, probably. I mean, that I can definitely Google, just because they will have a mix.
Or maybe by a number of employees, if it's not the government, like a private company in the private sector.
Oh, if you mean private company. So private company. Well, I'm not sure whether or not this one is private, but this one is.
What was it? What do they do?
They produce different wood products.
Okay, so yeah, like you said, it's timber.
Oh, and this one is actually, I think this one is technically in micro-tech.
It's like electronics or
Yeah, it seems like they.
medical. No, electronics.
Oh, so this one was.
Okay.
But I'm not sure whether or not they are totally private. Maybe they just are a branch of some semi-public company in Latvia. I'm not sure about these guys.
Okay.
But this is IT. This is IT, and
Okay, yeah,
oh
looks
well,
nice.
no, this is sorry. That's not. That's just the nominations. There are some. Oh, all right. So 15 biggest companies per profit. Oh, what's that?
So
Never heard of this.
Kronospan.
Never heard of this. What are they doing? No clue.
It's manufacturing or
It doesn't. Oh, it's wait a second. Veneer.
what is it?
Well, still wood.
That's
Wood
food,
products. Yeah,
Okay.
wood product manufacturing. La Telecom. It's well, communications
Yeah.
company, but it's
Yes,
owned
yes,
by
yes.
but it's owned. It's a Latvian company. Holding company. What's that? I don't know. It's what?
So there's,
It's a
not too much industry,
financial agency.
Okay, so it's services
Holding company.
and
Oh, it's definitely most of the
Resources,
time.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you look, well, this one is a transit for oil products. I mean, black oil products.
yeah, but this is actually not a bad thing that there's not too much manufacturing, because manufacturing is dirty and
Somewhat,
takes
yeah.
a lot of space and creates a lot of traffic.
I didn't
Czech
know
Republic
that.
is the most industrial country in Europe. We have the biggest share of industry on economics of all of Europe.
And you probably have pretty much, well, how to put it, not pleased people, but still, people who are happy. Right.
I don't know. How do you think? Why do you think that it's Czech Republic?
I'm not sure. It's just the impression that I got. That you guys are pretty upbeat people.
I think that we think of ourselves as grumpy,
That's
most of the
always
Czechs are
the case. I
brown.
mean, I was in Germany, 2012,
They told you the same, yeah.
and they told yeah, we're so rude, we are so
Yeah,
so
yeah.
what?
Yeah.
They even greet me. They even greet people who they don't know. Right. So if you think that that's rude or not polite, then don't come to my
Okay.
place. But yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Most of the time, those companies are just some service companies. Look at that casino, the eighth in terms
That's
of
in
profit.
top 10 casinos.
The eighth.
It's not bad.
Yeah. So no, we don't have big manufacturing, that's for
Uh,
sure. But we have some, definitely many wood products, definitely some housing or infrastructure producers, that's for sure.
okay.
But
Well,
other than,
if you asked me, I wouldn't be able to name a single Latvian company like by name.
for sure, yeah. Well, why would you? Oh well, you know what is the most recognizable? And wait a second, I need to remember myself. Aerodium, because they were in the Olympics, in the sense that they were in the opening ceremony.
Okay.
I think it was in London. Let me just. Oh, that's us. So I think it was in London. Aerodium. Olympics. Or Winter? Oh, maybe Winter Olympics.
Well, what do they do?
Oh, and yeah, and
Flight shows.
those are those dudes who just fly around
Okay.
in the wind tunnel.
Okay. This is not a company. It's like a exhibition or sports or show.
I don't know how they actually earn their money, but that's a Latvian company.
Okay. So pretty famous.
Sort of. But yeah, other than that, well,
All right.
we definitely had some big assets just privatized after the Soviet Union collapsed. So that's why the big manufacturers just
went away.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
just because most of them either they got sold off
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah. The same happened in the Czech Republic, or they went bankrupt because they couldn't compete on the global market after the communism fell down. Okay.
All right, seems. Let me just check how long we are talking.
Yeah. Well, what time is it? It's
We are
half
talking.
past 1.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
time to go to sleep, right?
We gotta get up tomorrow in the morning. So
Same for me.
I think,
All right.
We are finished. Yeah. Gives the